organizations address code of conduct policy violations in company communications, while also helping organizations in regulated industries meet specific supervisory compliance requirements. Communication compliance supported a number of company communication channels, including Exchange email, Teams, Skype for Business Online, Twitter, Facebook, Bloomberg Instant Messages, and a whole lot of third-party services. To provide granularity in identifying specific words and phrases, we have out-of-the-box machine learning models to identify threats, harassment, and profanities across company communication channels. You can also build your own trainable classifiers that understand meaning and context that are unique to your organization need, such as insider trading or unethical practice, freeing you from a sea of false positives. Once a violation has been flagged and the designated supervisor is alerted, it is important that the review process enables them to efficiently act on violations. Communication compliance includes features such as historical user context on past violations, conversation threading, and keyword highlighting, which together allow the supervisor to quickly triage the violation and take the appropriate remediation actions. The interactive dashboard provides an effective way to manage the growing volume of communication risks to ensure violations aren't missed. Proactive intelligent alerts on policy violations requiring immediate attention allows the supervisor to prioritize and focus on the most critical violations first. In addition, violations, actions, and trends by policy provide a quick view on the effectiveness of your program. Organizations need to scan corporate communication channels for three primary reasons. Corporate policies, that's the first. Employees must comply with acceptable use, ethical standards, and other corporate policies in all their business-related communications. Second one is risk management. Organizations are responsible to all communication distributed throughout their infrastructure and corporate network systems. Identifying and managing potential legal exposure and risk can help minimize risk before they can damage corporate operations. Third one is regulatory compliance. We know that most organizations must comply with some type of regulatory compliance standards as part of their normal operating procedures. These regulations often require organizations to implement some type of oversight process for messaging that is appropriate for their industry. The Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, what we know as FINRA Rule 3110, is a good example of a requirement for organizations to have procedures in place. Now let's move to talk about information barriers. Information barrier policy can be defined to prevent or allow communications in Microsoft Teams. Such policies can prevent people from calling or chatting with those they shouldn't, or enable people to communicate only with specific groups in Microsoft Teams. With information barriers policies in effect, whenever users who are covered by those policies attempt to communicate with users in Microsoft Teams, checks are done to prevent or allow communications as defined by the information barrier policy. When information barrier policies are in place, people who should not communicate or share files with other specific users won't be able to find, select, chat, or call those users. With information barriers, checks are in place to prevent unauthorized communication. Using information barriers can help you solve some of the most common scenarios, such as separating advisory and brokering departments for the FSI industry. Students in one school cannot find details of students in other school. That's the EDU section. When it comes to law firms, you can use information barriers to prevent information about a client that you represent from being disclosed in your same law firm with other lawyers who represent other clients. Same goes for professional services, where you can have one group in a company to chat only with a specific customer, and this is done by federation. And last, my favorite one, for government use cases, you can prevent specific information from being exposed to specific group or people. Initially, information barriers apply to Microsoft Teams chat and channels only. In Microsoft Teams, information barrier policies determine and prevent the following kinds of unauthorized communications: search for user, adding a member to a team, starting a chat sessions with someone, starting a group chat, inviting someone to join a meeting, sharing a screen, placing a call, sharing a file with another user, or access to a file through sharing link. If the people involved are included in information barrier policy to prevent the activity, they will not be able to proceed. In addition, potentially everyone included in information barrier policy